Hello there, Ray here. We have a brand new snapshot that's out today, which is 1.15.2 pre-release 1. So this is not 1.16. This is a continuation of 1.15. And they said they can go ahead and try to fix a couple bugs before kind of working on 1.16. And at the end of the week, they're hoping to come out with the full release of 1.15.2. So in this snapshot, they address quite a few different wide range of bugs that some are new as well as some are older ones. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to go over some new insight on 1.16 as well as a way for you guys to actually give input into what you want to have in 1.16. So make sure to go ahead and like this video, and if you haven't subscribed, as 75% of you guys are not subscribed. Let's see if we can change that. And guys, remember Wednesday and Friday nights we do the snapshot testing streams, and I'll notify you guys of that when it occurs. But let's go ahead and check out all the changes that they did in this newest pre-release. So the first change is that they made it so if you're using Silk Touch to destroy hives, it will no longer make the bees mad. So here's a bee. I'll go ahead and use Silk Touch. He's not mad at me. I can collect it. There can even be bees inside of it. This is different than if you would use just like your fist. You can see I broke the hive and I didn't get anything back, and they are mad at me. They will try to attack me and give me poison. They also added 2 new game rules. Do patrol spawning, so you can do it on or off. And this is the random spawns that you see with pillagers and patrol leaders that can spawn in the same biomes as villages can generate in. And these are the guys that will just spawn and then they'll just start trucking across the land trying to go towards a very specific village. Now these guys are known to create a lot of lag just because they're trying to pathfind somewhere quite far away. Oftentimes if they come across something obstructive like a cliff or extreme hills, they can't really pathfind around it. They're just going to continually trying to calculate how to get around this even though they can't, and it creates a lot of lag. So being able to turn it off is a nice option for servers that don't want the lag and also don't care if they get patrol spawns. Now this is different than like spawns that come from raids or spawns that come from pillager outpost. They also add another one which has to do with trading spawns. This is the trading llama, because the trading llama spawns can be kind of bizarre. They can spawn in weird places and kind of interrupt different stuff. Each spawn there is a wandering trader, and there's also trading llamas, 2 of them, and usually the wandering trader is pulling them around. Now they kind of got some pretty cool trades, but after a while I think people are kind of annoyed by them spawning in. So you have the option to turn it off as well. This is very useful for testing in both circumstances, as sometimes these random spawns can interfere with different things you're trying to test. They also gave more options for people that like to retexture items and blocks like that. They have it so you can now choose how much light you want to display for items in the GUI. Now in the past couple snapshots we did see that there was some lighting issues to do with different blocks in the menu and on the hotbar. You have a couple different options. You can set the way the kind of the shading is on each of these blocks. Notice how the shading dark side is on the right hand side here. You can also set it to the side or in front, so that looks a little bit differently. Now there is an option for spawn protection, which you can get to through the options. So you actually can choose an area around where players will spawn to be protected from placing down any blocks. And this is by default off. Normally only people that are opt are able to place stuff in this area. Now not many people use this, but there was kind of an exploit where players, even with the protection on, people could come in and place in stuff like armor stands, paintings, as well as item frames, as these things are entities and aren't actually considered blocks. So they went ahead and addressed this and fixed it. So next thing they change is to do with effects. Beacons will often reset your effects, so this beacon is giving me speed. And if you have a potion effect, then it would often reset the potion effect back to whatever the beacon is. So hopefully with this new change, if I give myself this speed potion, which is for 8 minutes, it shouldn't get cleared by the beacon. So there you go, I got the speed effect. And the beacon's still here. It's still giving me effect in case I ever run out, but it's not overriding it. So I don't lose like the whole 8 minutes worth just for a short period of beacon speed effect. That's very nice. I wish it would also fix another bug to do with potion effects and going through the end dimension. So if I would go through this portal here, and portal, notice that when I come through, I still have the speed effect. But if I go through the exit end portal, and I escape it, I lose my speed effect. So I don't know why that is. It's a really annoying bug, and I wish they would fix it. Now this bug here is actually a pretty old one. This is labeled as number 1541. We're up into the 160,000 range for bug reports. And the bug report to do about the entities was actually labeled number 862, which means it's really old. But all the rest of the bug reports from now on are going to be relatively new ones that were added. Next thing that they changed in Snapshot is the furnace minecart. There was a problem with it losing its power when navigating around corners. So if you don't know how these things work, they are a furnace on a minecart, and if you click on them with coal, they power in whatever direction opposite of which you are facing. So they went ahead and fixed it so that they wouldn't lose momentum when going around curves. Hopefully we see more stuff done with the furnace minecart, as it's a really cool tool, but just not very helpful. Now I did do a whole video explaining like furnace minecarts and some cool tricks you could do with them, despite them being pretty quirky and not very useful since they came out with power rails. Now there were some strange cases where concrete powder wouldn't convert over into concrete, depending on where it was placed. And one of them was flowing water that was going down like a hole. If you place concrete powder here, it wouldn't actually convert over. And they went ahead and fixed this. So now you can see you will get concrete, which is nice because some people like to make their concrete converters without having the water spill all over the place. They also fixed a bug to do with concrete. If it was dropping into deeper water than just one block, it wasn't immediately converting over into concrete. Instead, it was just popping off as an item. Now, next thing that they did in this version, which is new, has to do with players wearing elytras and going up and down ladders. So you guys might know this. If you climb a ladder and you have an elytra on, and you hit the spacebar, you're going to like deploy your elytra and you're going to fall to the bottom. This is kind of a common way to quickly get to the bottom of a ladder when you don't want to actually descend it the entire way. But they went ahead and changed this. So now if you're climbing a ladder and you hit the spacebar, you notice that your guy is not actually falling at all. They also recently changed it so that holding spacebar when you get up to something instead of pressing forward is another way to climb it. Like you can use this to climb vines. Of course, shift also works on the ladder, but you no longer can use that trick to just fall all the way down to the bottom. Let's see if we double tap, will our elytra come up? No, double tapping doesn't make your elytra. So I guess it's nice for some people that didn't know about this trick, but for those of us who did use it, it was kind of a handy way to get to the very bottom. Now recently, one of my friends who does a lot of streaming on Twitch, Nikolai, he actually died in his hardcore world by doing something similar. He had a elytra on and he was climbing some scaffolding, and I believe he hit like space and shift at the same time, and it made him completely fall all the way down to the bottom. But it looks like that has also been fixed. I'm holding space and shift. I don't look like I'm falling. Don't really matter what I do or which way I face. So that's really nice. He'll be really glad to hear that this bug is fixed, because it kind of ruined his hardcore world. They fixed a pretty annoying problem to do with the new harvesting of hives or nests and hoppers. So you can put like a shears back here in a dispenser and it will harvest this. Now if you harvest it with glass bottles, you get one honey bottle. So it's one item that'll get picked up by the hopper. But if you harvest it with shears, you'll actually get 3 items. And the problem was the hopper was only picking up the first item, even though they were kind of coming in a group. And all the other items would kind of just squirt out if they didn't have enough time for the hopper to pick them up. As there's kind of a cooldown between each time the hopper looks to take in new items. So hopefully this fixes other problems to do with hoppers and trying to pick up multiple items. Let's go ahead and try it out. Flick the switch. You kind of see how the thing works when it harvests. The items are actually inside of it. For a second, we can kind of see them peeking out the top for a brief moment, but then the hopper is able to pick them up. So there they are, all 3 of them in there. They're not squirting all over the place. So this should really help out on the honey farms that I've showed you guys in the past. And hopefully we won't see any loss with items getting launched out of it. Now they also changed the UI of the loom. The pattern icons were too dark, so they lighten them up a little bit. Now when you guys came to me about a problem, is that you said that this type of banner here is impossible to make anymore. Now I wasn't able to confirm this, but they're saying a special design was actually missing from the pattern thing. I believe they said it was the one to do with vines. So if anyone else ever had this problem where you couldn't make a special type of banner, something's missing, let me know, because you no longer can really make these type of banners by using a crafting table. They kind of removed all that. Now you're stuck just using the loom. And I kind of don't like that. I wish they would kind of leave the recipes in the crafting table, but also give us the option to use a loom. They also fixed a couple different capitalization inconsistencies, like the I in input was lowercase. So they fixed that. There were some particles missing in the critical hit, and they fixed that. The texture of horse armor when it was on the horse was off by a little bit, And now you can see it looks proper again. They fixed a problem to do with invisible mobs which have the glowing effect. We're not respecting their team. You guys didn't know you can kind of use commands to put different entities into different teams, and only some teams can see the others and stuff like that. And this is what they fixed. There was a problem with when reloading a bunch of resource packs. Over time it would cause intense lag. Probably has to do with a memory leak somewhere. I notice memory leaks mostly when leaving and joining worlds. If you do a lot of that, like about once a month, I have to clear out all my old worlds. I have about 100 single player worlds per month that end up getting made for testing. And when I'm going in and out of them a lot, after a while, it just completely maxes out my memory and it'll crash. So it's also possible to make armor stands like hold items and have those items be glowing using creative ways. And there was a problem in some circumstances, these items weren't glowing, which I went ahead and fixed. Now there was a problem in the previous version. If you got the Iron Golem low enough health where you had these little cracks and you gave him an invisibility potion, the cracks would still show up. So he looks extremely strange walking around with the cracks when he's invisible. And of course, you know, the more you hit him, the more cracks he's going to get. Eventually he's going to die. But they went ahead and fixed this. So if I go over to the new version and we summon an Iron Golem and we damage him so that he has cracks on him. Now you give him visibility potion. You can see the entire thing goes invisible. If you're in inspector mode, you can kind of see invisible mobs. But there are some still problems to do with kind of rendering of invisible mobs. You kind of look through them. You can do this using some other tricks too, like name tags. There's a problem that if a bee entered a boat and it went ahead and went into its beehive, it would never be able to exit it. That has now been fixed, which is probably a good thing so people can transport bees and get them back out of their hives. But I think the best way to transport bees is to just silk touch a hive. Our friend Red Command once again noticed some inconsistencies. Now it's to do about beds. So apparently being able to click in the bed to sleep was kind of offset to like one corner. I think it was like this corner. So if you were like closer to this corner, you could actually sleep in it than if you were like say over here trying to click into this corner. But now they went ahead and changed that. So now it should be consistent. From whatever angle, you should be able to click on the bed. The same goes also for monsters kicking you out of the bed. There was problems in previous versions of the beam coming from the ender crystals to the dragon being too dark. I actually didn't notice this. We did a lot of testing to do with ender dragons and beams, and there was quite a few bugs to do with them, but this wasn't the one that I noticed. But they went ahead and lightened it up, so it should look a little more normal. The bugs that we noticed had to do with when resummoned the ender dragon. It appeared that the ender crystals were in the wrong location and some other problems to do with the ender dragon, like the ender dragon hitbox being not in the right location. You can see it way up there in the sky. But yeah, they still haven't fixed these bugs yet. They fixed some inconsistencies to do with bees and pollinating crops. Bees have the ability to do that, and they have a special NBT tag which will kind of keep track of how many crops they pollinate. But there was a problem with the loading and unloading of this information from the bee, which is causing them to be able to infinitely grow up crops. Now I never noticed this in our crop farms. They seem to be able to grow the crops up and then go ahead and go into their hives and drop off their nectar. But hopefully this will just make it more consistent with the entire process of bees pollinating crops. They fixed a problem to do with breaking hives with the block in front of them. The bees are actually completely vanishing instead of coming out. Let's go ahead and give it a try. And it looks like they did fix it. The bees are coming out and they are mad. So that's a good thing, you're not losing bees. Those are all the fixes to do with the 1.15.2 pre-release one. And they did say like they're going to come out with the full release at the end of the week. So they're trying to do a couple more fixes before working on 1.16. Now they also did come out with some information about 1.16 through some tweets. So Henrik tweeted out saying that he has a decision today to do with the design of piglins. What should the piglins give in return for gold? So suggestions, he's asking the community, what do you guys suggest? Here he shows a little clip of the piglins, players giving him some gold ingots, and then he turned around and gave him some diamonds. It's kind of a cool animation of the piglin looking at the gold afterwards. It's kind of like making sure it's actually real. And one of the things I suggested is that the return give quartz, either quartz ore or quartz item. This would be extremely useful for getting large amounts of quartz, as currently it's very tedious. If you guys haven't already, be sure to go ahead and follow me on Twitter as I retweet a lot of these type of Java related update tweets. Another tweet by Henrik, which is him trying to program the Hoglings. He says, Hoglin programming is dangerous work. And here you can see he has a lot of extra overlays for the Hogling. Tells a lot of information about what the Hogling is currently like looking for and targeting. You can kind of see he has some highlighted squares where the pig's trying to pathfind to the player. And you can see how the Hoglin is able to easily pathfind and attack the player. A couple other things you can see, like the blue lines, like the blue squares here are where the Hoglin is trying to pathfind. The red ones are a location where he can actually hit the player. The green is where the player is. You can kind of see the pathfinding mark that is taken by the Hoglin to get to the player. You also see a bunch of information on here, like where he's walking, his target, a lot of information. There's core, there's fight, there's move to target, there's how many XPs. There's also the Hoglin's name, which is Slyface. And if I pause it, you can see quite a bit, like nearest ally to attack target. So maybe they work together to attack a player. Nearest player is him, Mr. Henrik. There's also nearest visible adult Piglin, because the Hoglins will work with the Piglins, which are the more the NPC type. Nearest visible player, so that's the player they have to see. You can also see multiple players. Nearest visible targetable player, I mean, he can actually pathfind it, and then this, of course, is going to be his path to get to that player. You also can see other visible adult Hoglins, as well as account for the total number of Piglins that they can see. So those are some pretty cool tweets to kind of see the progress that they're making in 1.16. So guys, make sure to let him know what you guys think that the Piglins should give kind of as a trade. Also give them some input on the Hoglin. I'm really excited to see what all 1.16 is going to be about, and it seems like after they do this kind of 1.15.2, they're going to start working on 1.16 more. So hopefully next week we see a snapshot to do with 1.16. It should be a lot of fun to play around with the Hoglins as well as the Piglin and see what their capabilities are and what type of cool farms and mechanics we can use for them. And I really appreciate, guys, if you go ahead and share this video with others so they can learn about the new changes that are coming with 1.15 as well as the upcoming changes to 1.16. And if you guys haven't already, be sure to go ahead and like the video and subscribe. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.